Welcome to another presentation on Sri Visvanatha Cakravarti Ṭhakura's Sri Madhurya Kadambini, the Monsoon Clouds of Sweetness. We are currently in the third cloud bank, and we will continue today discussing anarthas that arise from the practice of bhakti itself. Sri Visvanatha Cakravarti Ṭhakura writes in his Madhurya Kadambini regarding anarthas that arise from the practice of bhakti. Next, anarthas that arise from bhakti are discussed. These anarthas spring like parasitic creepers from the main branch of the wish-fulfilling vine of bhakti and awaken the yearning for wealth, labdha, adoration, puja, and recognition, pratishta. They arise from the imperfect performance of bhakti, and the heart of the practitioner is tainted by their influence. In this way, they grow so extensively that they can even stunt the main branch of the creeper of bhakti. At the beginning of this third shower of nectar, Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Ṭhakura has given an elaborate description of anarthas. They are of four types: those arising from impious activities, those arising from pious activities, those arising from offenses, and those arising from bhakti. The fourth are known as bhaktyutha, because they arise from the imperfect practice of bhakti. The sixth stage of unsteady practice was denoted as Taranga Rangani, frolicking in the waves, and characterized by the enjoyment of the side benefits of devotional advancement, like wealth, fame, worship, etc. These pose formidable obstacles to the practitioner's progress in bhajan, the path leading to prema. The sadhaka, desiring to attain prema, should be extremely cautious to protect themselves from such desires and proceed with great humility. Sri Mahaprabhu himself has said, "Sometimes the parasitic creepers, upasakas, of the desire for enjoyment or liberation sprout alongside the vine of devotion. These upasakas are unlimited. They include forbidden behavior, duplicity, violence to other living entities, and the desire for wealth, fame, and recognition. They drink up all the water of the sadhaka's hearing and chanting. In this way, they are nourished and flourish, while the growth of the bhakti lata is impaired. An intelligent devotee must uproot a parasitic creeper as soon as he spots it, so that the original vine of devotion may flourish and reach the lotus feet of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan." The desires for material enjoyment and liberation may have already been cut, but it is extremely difficult to remove the desire for recognition, pratishta. Sri Sanatana Goswami writes in the epilogue of Hari Bhakti Vilas, "Even if one has relinquished everything else, the desire for recognition, which is the root cause of all anarthas, is extremely difficult to give up. For this reason, the practitioner is to remain extra vigilant to save himself from this desire. When this desire for pratishta finds a place in the heart, then pratishta's beloved companion, envy, matsarya, also takes shelter there. They cohabit because of their reciprocal conjugal mood. The dog-eating outcast of envy impregnates the witch of desire for recognition, who begets the twins, violence, himsa, and jealousy, ursa. Their combined devastating dance completely destroys all good tendencies of the heart, and in such an impure heart, where is room for the desire for bhakti? The sadhaka should therefore not desire honor, amani, but instead offer all respects to others, manada, thus carefully abandoning the desire for honor forever. From the Chaitanya Charitamrita we hear, one should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. We next come in our presentation to Viswanath's presentation of the 5 stages of the eradication of Anarthas. Viswanath writes, the eradication of the 4 types of Anarthas occurs in 5 stages: partial, Eka Desa Vartini, extensive, Bahudesha Vartini, and almost complete, Praiki, complete, Purna, and absolute, Achantiki. Within the stages of progressive devotional advancement, from initial Shraddha to the attainment of Prem, there is the stage of Anartha Nivritti, cessation of the impediments to bhakti. Now the removal, Nivritti, of the 4 types of Anarthas will be explained. These Anarthas do not vanish immediately, but are eradicated in 5 stages. Ekadesa Vartini, the partial clearance of Anarthas, can be likened to the deduction of 12 to 25 cents from $1. This stage is called Ekadesa Vartini Nivritti. Bahudesa Vartini, the extensive eradication of Anarthas, can be likened to the deduction of 75 cents from $1. This stage is called Bahudesha Vartini Nivritti. Prayiki, the almost complete clearance of all Anarthas, with only a little remaining, can be likened to the deduction of 98 cents from $1. This stage is called Prayiki Anartha Nivritti. Purna, the complete eradication of Anarthas, with nothing remaining, can be likened to the full deduction of 100 cents from $1. This stage is called Purna Anartha Nivritti. Achantiki, the absolute annihilation of Anarthas, sees no possibility of Anarthas regenerating again. In the previous stage of Purna Nivritti, Anarthas are destroyed, but there is still a possibility that they may regenerate for some reason. At Achantiki Nivritti, however, there is no possibility of this happening. Vishwanath continues, Gramo Dagda Pato Bhagna. The village is burned, the cloth is torn. According to this logic, after commencing the practice of devotional service, bhajana kriya, the eradication of anarthas arising from past aparads is partial. Upon developing firm faith, nistha, the eradication is extensive. When one develops transcendental affection, reti or bhava, for Sri Bhagavan, the eradication is almost complete. When the sun of love of God, Prem, rises, its destruction is complete. And when one obtains the lotus feet of Bhagavan, that is, becomes his direct associate, the eradication of this anartha is absolute. Sri Visvanatha Cakravarti Ṭhakura illustrates the point under discussion with the logic, the village is burned, the cloth is torn. From these statements, we understand that the village was only partially consumed by fire, and that the cloth is now in 2 or more pieces. It does not indicate that the village or cloth is destroyed entirely. Likewise, after commencing bhajana kriya, there is a gradual and partial ekadesa vartini, eradication of anarthas arising from offenses. aparadotha anarthas. When nista arises in the sadhaka, the removal of anarthas is extensive. And when reti or bhava develops, the destruction of anarthas is almost complete. When bhava condenses, it is called prem, and anartha nivritti is complete, purna. And when the devotee obtains direct service to the lotus feet of Sri Bhagavan, the eradication of anarthas is absolute achantiki. There is not even the slightest chance that they will return. We now will go over some examples of the severity of offenses to Krishna or Krishna's dearest devotees. From the Bhakti-Rasamrita Sindhu we hear, by an offense against Krishna or Krishna's dearest devotee, even bhava will disappear if the offense is serious. That bhava will become a shadow of bhava, bhava-bhas, if the offense is medium, and will become bhava of a lesser category if the offense is slight. A gorilla named Dvavida was an associate of Sri Ramachandra, but because he had committed offense at the lotus feet of Sri Lakshman, he underwent many torments and was eventually killed at the hands of Sri Baladev at the end of Dwapara Yuga. By such precedents, the severity of committing an offense at the lotus feet of a great devotee is understood. Although rare, it is possible for those sadhakas in whom bhava has arisen, jata rati sadhakas, and those in whom prema has jata prema sadhakas, to commit offenses to a pure devotee. Only when the premi bhakta receives the full mercy of Sri Bhagavan and obtains direct darshan of and service to him does the absolute cessation, achantiki nivritti, of aparadotha anarthas take place, with no possibility of aparad being committed again. Vishwanath continues, the offense of Chitraketu Maharaj is in truth not an offense. We hear that once Maharaj Chitraketu committed an offense to a pure devotee, even after receiving the audience of Bhagavan. His committing an offense was only apparent. However, it was not real, since the same treasure of loving devotion to Bhagavan remains in his heart, both as an associate of the Lord and as Vitrasura. There is no difference between these two distinctive features of his. This is the conclusion, Siddhanta. After attaining Bhagavan, the cessation of anarthas arising from aparad is absolute, achantiki. This means that it is impossible to commit an offense to an exalted devotee, mahad aparad. Here a question may be raised. If this is so, then how did Chitraketu Maharaj, even after attaining Bhagavan, develop the propensity to offend Sriman Mahadev? In response, the revered author says that although we hear that Chitraketu Maharaj committed aparad to a great soul, this is not the reality. The offense was only apparent. It is said that the result of committing an offense to a pure devotee is that one's bhakti diminishes or vanishes. Parvati cursed Chitraketu Maharaj and he became a demon, but still his bhakti remained unaffected. We can infer the cause by the result alone. Therefore, Chitraketu Maharaj did not actually commit Mahad Aparad. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes the following in his Tattva Sandarbha. The Purana known as Srimad Bhagavatam recounts the deeds of humans and devas in the Sarasvat Kalpa, explains the way of supreme truth in terms of Gayatri, and narrates the slaying of Vritrasura. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the prayers of Chitraketu Maharaj as Vritrasura are presented as follows. O Lord, please bestow such mercy upon me that in my next birth I may obtain the opportunity to exclusively serve the servants who have taken shelter of your lotus feet. O beloved of my life, Pranavallabha, may my mind always remember your all-auspicious qualities, my speech always describe the glories of these qualities, and my body always remain engaged in your service. O source of all good fortune, I do not desire the heavenly planets, the realm of Brahma, or rulership over the earth or lower planetary systems, nor do I desire any mystic perfection. I do not even want liberation if it means I will have to give you up. O Lotus-eyed One, my heart is restless to have darshan of you, just as featherless chicks eagerly look out for their mother, as hungry calves are anxious to drink the milk of their mothers, and as a lover separated from her beloved because he is in a foreign land longs to meet him. Lord, I do not want liberation. I am not concerned if I have to repeatedly wander throughout this vicious cycle of birth and death as a result of my actions. But wherever I go, in whatever species I may take birth, please grant me the loving friendship of your dear devotees. Master, I only wish that I may never have any relationship with those who are bewildered by your illusory potency and attached to house, body, wife, and sons. Srila Jiva Goswami quotes these 4 verses in his Priti Sandarbha and writes there, the meaning here is that Vritrasura's words reveal his immaculate prema for Bhagavan. This is why the account of the killing of Vritrasura is regarded as special within Srimad Bhagavatam. Other Puranas also accept these prayers as uppermost among the features of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vishwanath continues, Jaya and Vijaya voluntarily accepted an unfavorable mood toward Bhagavan. Furthermore, the cause of Jaya and Vijaya's offense was a desire born of their burgeoning prema, which they expressed as follows. O Master, O Lord of Lords, Narayan, we cannot see anywhere anyone powerful enough to fulfill your desire for battle. Even though we have the power to do so, we cannot oppose you, as we are devoid of an antagonistic mood towards you. Since your desire to fight is not fulfilled, please somehow awaken in us an inimical mood, so that you may taste the satisfaction of combat. We cannot tolerate that you experience even the slightest diminution in the fulfillment of your autonomous desires. Therefore we, your 2 order carriers, pray that even if you have to forcibly curb your quality of being affectionate to your devotees, Bhakta-vatsalya, kindly fulfill our prayers. If one ever develops an offensive mentality toward the description of Chitraketu Maharaj or Jaya and Vijaya, and concludes that Chitraketu Maharaj or Jaya and Vijaya really committed an offense, one should overcome this by intelligent deliberation. I sincerely thank you for taking time to view this presentation on Sri Viswanath's Sri Madhurya Kadambini. Hare Krishna.